I never really followed up on my first talk about the Colin Kaepernick controversy, and that's because I'm having a hard time processing. When I say hard time, I don't mean like, oh my God, this is like killing me, but I want a cracker. I gotta think this through. I thought it through. I thought I was gonna say one particular thing, but then realized I realized I want a cracker. Okay, hold on a second. I want a cracker. I'm starving. I want a cracker. I want a cracker. Ah, oh, cracker. Yeah, does anyone want a cracker? Yes, I want a cracker. And what kind of crackers? Ritz. But Ritz, as I like to say. But anyway, the issue for me is that it's sad that you have some people. You have people that they talk at each other, and mainly blacks and whites. Although there's a lot of other different folks in between, but it's the problem is that it's like we don't hear each other, but then it's not like there's a lot of people over here and a lot of people over here. It's more like some people over here, some people over here, some in the middle. And the simple fact that people are not stopping to listen to each other is a byproduct of the way we've allowed our society to evolve. We do not teach kids how to relate to each other based on race when they're little, like kindergarten. So when parents send their kids to school, the kid is exposed to a society beyond the home. And it's one thing for a parent to say, think this way or that way, but the kid is going to respond to what his or her peers do. And if how to relate to another kid in such a way that one kid doesn't call the other name based on race and understands what it means to exhibit a curiosity about someone else's culture, like learning a language, not just learning a language, that's the age-old one, but learning why musical differences are there, why there's, to pick an extreme example, why there's rap or rock or indie pop or whatever. And it's important for the kid to hear this because in a digital media society, they're already bombarded with music. They've got to make sense of where it came from. And you can't separate music from the culture. And you can't effectively understand the culture without understanding how people who've grown up within it based on race and sex and interactions. But my point is we don't teach that. And so the kid is thrown out to the wolves of society every day, grows up that way, and then learns those ills. And then as adults come up with the same problem that their forebears had. The inability to effectively understand. The only way that's overcome is by constant exposure to another idea, another person. Now, we have that because of digital media today. We have that because not just that our population is more diverse than that, but also because of the systemic elimination of actions that have violated the civil rights of people. But you would say, if that's the case, how can we solve a problem? We have the problem because of what I said. The laws have been eliminated, but those laws were eliminated because adults did things to each other. It wasn't because it wasn't because of kids, okay? In other words, if we had taught kids how to relate to each other racially, we wouldn't have the laws we have, the problems we've had. And now it's time to really start pushing for policies that really effectively deal with and get rid of racism at the child level. We haven't done it. Now, what Colin Kaepernick has done is expose that problem. Unknowingly. I'm not saying he genius did this, but I am saying that his action was divine providence. It was an act of God. Yeah, no, it was an act of God. Because to me, people think. You say pissed off? Why? Why are you pissed off? What's the point of being pissed off? It's made us stop and think. It's a watershed moment at a time in society when, if you think about Donald Trump's immigration speech and his Hitler-esque rhetoric, we could head down the wrong path really easily. We really could. And we can't. And we have to keep ourselves unionized, if you will, as a society. When I say unionized, I mean together. Me and I had a conversation off camera, and for him, it was, well, I went to Berkeley. My parents raised me to march and great things. But what I was trying to explain to Lee, as much as I was listening, was that for me, for example, I get called the N-word thousands of times a year on YouTube alone. And I have a word filter which I've elected to take off for just a bit, just to see if there were any traffic difference or anything. That's another story. But not much. But I did. And so I put the filter up there because it's wrong for a society to allow a person that looks like me to be called a name that's bad because of the color of my skin. That's completely wrong. And I'm happy to say there are fewer people doing it than when I first started YouTube, but it's still there. Anyway, what Colin's done is he's exposed, the wound was already there. It's not that maybe we didn't pay attention to it, but it was already there. Donald Trump was kind of picking at it, but Colin Kaepernick opened it. Black Lives Matter was trying to draw attention to it, but their message got muddled and it was drowned out by the sound of protest. What I mean by that is when you block freeways and smash windows and destroy buildings, and you do it repeatedly, and it becomes just nothing more than reality television, okay? And nothing changes because it's problems in one area, and people look at that as, oh, on television, are they going to do it again? And becomes entertainment for them, and they don't learn anything. This is entirely different. Lee says we shouldn't go to a stadium and have to be bombarded with political issues. And off camera, I said, well, you know what? What if it were women feeling that they should be able to go topless? People go to the stadium to see that protest. Tell me they wouldn't. Okay? And he kind of chuckles, and I know what you mean. Which gets to my point. It's not protest, it's race. White folks don't like to talk about race, black people do. That's the problem. And while that generalization has changed to the point where you have whites who don't mind, it's still a problem. And now Colin is forcing everyone to talk. It's all over the place. I think it's a great thing. Because you can only understand each other through talking. But now that we're talking, the question is, where do we go from here? Policies. We have to have policies that start at the child level and effectively make sure that our kids grow up loving, appreciating, respecting each other regardless of what the other person looks like. If we don't do that, then we're going to have this problems over again and again and again. Until something gives.